I try to make my way. Some people never change, but you know what they say. As I pass them by, I won't cast an eye. I won't pass judgment, cause I don't have the right. And plus, who am I to even try to speak? I feel responsible, but I'm also feeling weak. It's not meant to be, but I can't help to feel the blame. Concealing the blame got me feeling ashamed. And even though it's not my time, I got a lot in mind. As I pass the parking lot, took a shot that's fine. As I can only pray that everybody's okay. Not another mistake made like back in the day. It's so sad to think I've been neglected the youth here. They stripped us of our morals and they wonder why we shoot peers. The truth is they don't care about us. The upper class living while we're stuck in a rut. I'm fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move. I'm fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move. So what you think about all of this? You've been running around, now it's time to call it quits. And that's all it is, just another mistake. Trying to numb the pain, kinda dumbed your brain. You got nothing to say, you just stick to your views. Do you believe their lies, or can you see to the truth? They don't need a disguise, they just need an excuse. So what you meaning to do with the heathen in you? See me, I seen it and grew. No longer stuck in the same game, they can't understand it. They just say that he changed, man, but you're supposed to grow. I'm still the same, so I just dumped the habits. I couldn't have them no more. I want more, and I ain't talking about money. I'm talking about a life drinking milk and honey, feeling fulfilled. I mean the healing's for real, but I still gotta deal with these devils and tails. I'm fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move. I'm fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move. I'm fed up with the feds and the CIA raps. Ain't afraid to say that, I knew it way back. And y'all know what I'm talking about. For all you puppets on the string that wanna sock in my mouth. You can put a slug in my chest and all of a sudden I'm blessed. But you can't stop us from flooding the message. Someone else will step in and take my place. You can't take my grace. I'm running out of time, better state my case. Another statement made when I seen the towers fall. I knew that was y'all. Wanted to call for martial law. The jig's up, you better give the figs up. Excuses are useless, Yeshua's coming to get us. And plus, he's gonna deal with you hypocrites. Thinking you're saved by grace and ain't interested in keeping the word. The truth is gonna hurt. Yeshua is the word, thought you knew it, it's absurd. I'm in the midst of these children, running around all about their selfish needs. I try to get to the real them, deep inside beneath the lies underneath. But they don't care about a real thing. I care about them, but their intentions are grim. Conspiracies are in them, I can see it in their eyes. They don't care about me. They got me fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move. I'm fed up with the things they do. They don't care about me and they don't care about you. It's a new world order, I'm just sharing the truth. We're backed into a corner and they're ready to move.
Greetings, Shalom, Shalom. I was sharing with you another song from my brother, Todd. Man, I miss him so much. Praise Allah, though. His music survives. Amen. I wanted to share that with you before I bring you this message, body. Miss Polka, my brothers, my sisters, I am burdened like the prophet Yirmiyah. It's like a fire in my bones. I hope you can appreciate the burden I have to share this message with you. I've been preparing this message for 15 years. Literally. No joke. No joke. Finally came together in the last few days, the last few weeks actually. I can finally say that I grasp the material well enough to teach it at last. And so here I am going to share with the body today. I'm stepping out in faith. This is the, I don't know, maybe third, fourth take. And I think we got it. We're ready this time. So this message is a presentation by a man called Gavar. And I'm calling it Serve YHWH, or work for a living, experiencing the blessings of Yah in the wilderness of Mitsrayim. Kind of a paradox, because we're wandering, we're in dispersion, and we're not in the land, so we can't keep the festivals properly. We have a lot of things we can't do, but we can serve Yahuwah with our whole heart, with our whole body, and our whole being, our whole soul, our might, and our being. Yeah, heart, soul, and being. Sorry, I quote it right there. And this is unlocking the secrets of how we, by using discernment, right ruling, mishpat, we can be, like Yahushua said, cunning as serpents, but yet gentle as doves. And in the meanwhile, we can enjoy a prosperous, thriving future in spite of the challenging times that we find ourselves living in. I know a lot of people are struggling, man. Inflation is through the roof. We just elected President Trump, and it's an astounding, resounding message of rejection of the liberal policies of reckless spending by the government, financing wars, endless wars overseas, and not taking care of ourselves at home. And I'm hopeful that he can turn things around, but my hope is not in any man. Hallelujah. And neither should yours be. Your hope should be in the living Elohim, our Father, our Abba, who cares so deeply for us, and he has provided a way. I'm going to show you. I didn't find this on my own, by the way. I'm not taking credit for any of this. I'm in touch with a group of people nationwide who, through the power of the internet, have been searching the myriads and eons of statutes and codes of federal regulation, and we have found the remedy, and it's in their laws, it's in their books. And I'm going to share with you today how, when you discover these things, you unlock the secret to enable you and to empower you to choose you this day whom you will serve, and then serve Yahuwah. Because if he truly is a Elohim, then we ought to serve him. Amen? So let's get into it. One of the most often quoted verses lately that I've heard is Hosea 4:6, which says, "My people have perished for lack of knowledge." And in regard to this message, if you have not yet heard this message, there's probably pretty good chance you are perishing and not experiencing the fullness of the blessing of Yahuwah. And you are struggling and you can't make ends meet. Well, I hope this message finds you before you perish, and we can help reach down and give you a hand up and pull you up, and through faith in Yahuwah, you can come out of that. I was reading in my scriptures as I prepared this message, Deuteronomy and Yehoshua, because I wanted to get back in touch with what it was like, what it might have been like to be one of those original Israelites in bondage in Mitsrayim, Egypt. And the book of Deuteronomy continues to be one of my favorite books. If you haven't read it lately, I encourage you to read it again. Read it often. It's so encouraging. And I've read it over and over again the last few weeks as I prepared this message. And you know what? I can't find anywhere in there. I can't find anywhere in there where it says we're supposed to work for a living. And what I mean by that is go and labor in someone else's vineyard. Yes, we do work. Yahuwah has a system of plant, seed, and harvest, the hydrological cycles, the seasons. Our calendar itself is based on the Hebrew agricultural calendar. The year begins in spring. Pesach is the first festival of the year. And then we have first fruits, Shavuot. And then we have the festivals in the fall, the ingathering, and we closing out the season. Then we have the turning of the year, which just happened. It's all keyed to an agricultural calendar. We are biological beings. We depend on the fruit of the earth, and our calendar itself is based on that. But nowhere in Scripture do I find anything that compels us or or commands us to work in anyone else's vineyard other than our own Elohim. And the example we have given to us that Yahuwah desires for us to be prosperous and to have all the blessings that we need to live a prosperous, blessed life is all there in the earth, the abundance of the earth. As a farmer, I can testify how what caught me initially and got me into farming was the miracle of the seed. How this little itty bitty tomato seed, for example, or mustard seed, like Yahushua said, the smallest of seeds. And you can plant that seed in the ground, and if you nurture it and you feed it and you do your job as a farmer, and Adam was a farmer. He tended the garden. That's what he did. That was his job. If you want to say work, that was his work. Tend the garden, he was told. And the blessing, the abundance that's in the seed just continues to blow me away. And I'm humbled by it. But the message we have, the pattern we have, when Yahuwah seeks to bless his people and deliver them from slavery, and we know from Scripture, it's the design and the will of Yahuwah that men self-govern, that they have the right to self-govern themselves. They are not meant to be slave to anyone. And the only reason we became slaves is because we disobeyed Torah. So Yahushua 24:15, I read this, and this really relates to the message today. Let's read it. And I gave you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build, and you dwell in them. You eat of the vineyards and the olive trees, which you did not plant. Then he says, and if it seems evil in your eyes, what seems evil? I think Yahushua is saying that, wait a minute, Yahuwah is going to just give us somebody else's property. He's going to let us eat grapes from a vine that somebody else planted. He's going to allow us to pick the olives and press the olive oil from trees we didn't plant. We're going to live in land that was not our land, but he gives it to us. There's no record in Deuteronomy of Yahuwah giving anyone a mortgage when they came in the land. They drove out these evil races, and Yahuwah gave them the land. And so the question Yahushua is asking is, does that seem evil to you? That Yahuwah would take his people, his blessed, set-apart people, and he would give them someone else's land? I'm trying to find my notes here. Oh, I apologize. Well, I didn't have them out. I apologize. Crap. Well, let me pause the video for just a second and find my notes. Give me 1 second. Apologies, Miss Polka. Apologies. So here I found my notes. So we are a set-apart nation. I remind you, brothers and sisters, that throughout Scripture, starting in all the way back in Deuteronomy, I'll read you some verses from Deuteronomy, that we're special. We are special. So why wouldn't he do that for us? And I want to back that up with a few scriptures. 1 Kepha 1:5-9. You also as living stones are being built up as a spiritual house, a set-apart priesthood. But you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a sovereign priesthood, a set-apart nation. The doctrine of sovereignty in America itself is based upon Scripture. You know that? A royal priesthood. Royalty. We're sovereigns in Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. Amen. We are a people for a possession, Peter said, who were not once a people, but now you are the people of Elohim. And then Deuteronomy 7:6. For you are a set-apart people unto Yahuwah, your Elohim. Yahuwah, your Elohim, has chosen you to be a set-apart people for himself, a treasured possession above all the people of the earth. So why wouldn't he? Why do you think it evil that he would put you above everybody else? Why would you think that evil? That's what he does. He calls us to be set apart. Amen. Be set apart even as I am set apart, he said. Deuteronomy 9:12. Devarim 9:12. They, Israel, are your people and your inheritance, whom you brought out by your great power and by your outstretched arm. Again, in Devarim 10:15. Yahweh delighted only in your fathers to love them, and he chose their seed. That's you, brothers. That's us. That's me. Their seed after them, you above all peoples. And then finally, Devarim, two more. Devarim 14:2. For you are a set-apart people to Yahuwah your Elohim, and Yahuwah has chosen you to be a people unto himself, a treasured possession above all the people who are on the face of the earth. And finally, Deuteronomy 26:18. And Yahuwah caused you to proclaim today to be his people, a treasured possession, as he has spoken to you, if you guard his commands. Amen. So then Joshua finishes out by saying, to serve Yahuwah, then choose for yourself this day whom you will serve. But I and my house, we will serve Yahuwah. Amen. So my question today, brothers and sisters, Ms. Polka, are you serving Elohims of wood and stone? Are you serving a fake Elohim, a lying Elohim, an Elohim that lies to you and deceives you and has you sell your labor into its vineyard in exchange for nothing? We'll talk about that moving forward. Elohims of wood and stone. What's paper made from? Wood. We're going to get to that. Paper money. So Devarim 10:12. And now Israel, what is Yahuwah your Elohim asking of you but to fear Yahuwah your Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being, and to guard the commands of Yahuwah and his laws, which I'm commanding you today, for your good. So there's a blessing when you obey his commands. And we're told in Devarim 4:2, I believe it is, to not add to or take away from the commandments of Yahuwah. So the only law that we're supposed to submit to is his. There's no other law that can be above us, because we are sovereigns under Yahuwah. Now governments are creations of men. They're fictions. Can the fiction be greater than that which created it? No, that's an oxymoron. And if you believe that, then you're deceived, brothers. The United States government and every other government on the planet is underneath you as a believer in Yahuwah. Walk in that. Grab that and believe it. But he told us in Devarim 28 what would happen if we forsook his commandments and didn't serve him with all our heart and didn't guard his commands. He said, Yahuwah will bring you and the sovereign whom you set over you. So in other words, he's saying, you're not supposed to have a sovereign over you, but you'll set one over yourself, and we'll end up in a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and from there you will serve mighty ones, fake Elohims, small e Elohim, Elohims of wood and stone. Brothers and sisters, are we serving Elohims of wood and stone right now in our current paradigm in America? What is an Elohim anyway? Help us to know what that word actually means. Elohim means mighty one, source of strength, giver of life, provider of blessings, source of provision, faithful ally, strong comfort in time of need. Can any government on the planet offer you strength, protection? Can they give you life? Can they bless you? Can they be a source of provision for you beyond what Yahuwah has already provided through his wonderful creation of abundance that just keeps giving and giving? Every day the sun comes up. It's a sign of his faithfulness. Every day it rises. And we're reminded that as long as the sun comes up and the moon goes up, he'll be there to bless his people. To have faith in an Elohim is to believe in that Elohim, and that by serving that Elohim, he'll provide for you and he'll keep his promises of provision. And to live your life in a manner that displays an active faith that you believe he will do that. Are we serving Yahuwah in that capacity? Or are we spending our efforts and our energy and our life source in someone else's garden? Do we act in America like believers, like we believe in Yahuwah? I'm just asking questions. Because we used to. In America was settled by people who are fleeing the church in the 16th and 17th century. And they came here to America to live according to their conscience. They brought with them the scriptures, and there was a special expression in early colonial America, sola scriptura, only the Bible, only the scriptures. And that was their book, that was their law. The common law is based on that. And they built their communities around that. They risked everything to come here. It was very dangerous to come here. But they came here seeking to build communities of faith. And that's what made America great. We were a community of faith. We came here seeking to serve Yahuwah. Well, what happened? How we get off track? Well, I talked a little bit about this in video 1, my first video, Let My People Go. I'll just touch on a few things. And I want to touch on 2 lies that this Elohim sells us that we should not even consider buying into anymore. And I want to hopefully show you the way out of that. And that's citizenship and money. Our citizenship, as I just showed you, I just read to you in Scripture, our citizenship is in the kingdom of Yahuwah, the set-apart nation of Israel. That is our citizenship. So you are, in law, what would be called a denizen. You're a sojourner, just like Jacob was. A sojourner in a land not his own. That's what we are in America, folks. But the way we got off track is a series of distractions, false flags, starting with the Civil War in 1861. Then swiftly followed by the 14th Amendment and the Organic Act of 1871. 14th Amendment came in 1868. Then we had the Organic Act. We're going to talk in great detail about the 14th Amendment moving forward. But the Organic Act turned our government, which was once an unincorporated association of sovereign men and women governing themselves, it was turned into a corporation in 1871. Then the corporation got real busy. Turn of the century, early 1900s, with world wars. Then we had Vietnam. Then we had 9/11, Iraq War. All these false flags, these things that they scheme and intentionally pull off to deceive you, to trick you, and keep you distracted. So somewhere along the line, we stopped self-governing, and we allowed a corporation to take over our government services. And now we are sold our rights by this corporation. That's how it happened. We forgot who we were. We forgot that we were the people of the Most High, His set-apart nation, and nation of priests and sovereigns. So let's talk about the 2 lies that they sell us. The first lie is U.S. citizenship, which I'm going to prove to you doesn't even exist. It's a fiction of law. Poof. They just made it up. Let's get into it. 1855, the California Supreme Court, this is before the 14th Amendment, says this: at its inception, all citizens of American states were citizens of the states of the Union. Citizens generally called themselves citizens of their states unless traveling outside of America. Any reference to being a citizen of the U.S. was a generic expression and had no legal application. Prior to the enactment of the 14th Amendment, the Supreme Court of California said the following: by metaphysical refinement in examining the form of our government, it might be correctly said that there is no such thing as a citizen of the United States, but constant usage arising from convenience and perhaps necessity, and dating back to the formation of the Confederacy, that's the Articles of Confederation, not the Southern Confederacy, that's 1776, has given substantial existence to the idea which the term conveys. A citizen of any of the states of the Union is held to be and called a citizen of the United States, although technically and abstractly there is no such thing. That was 1855. Now let's fast forward to 1927. The same Supreme Court, California, said the following, Teshua versus Jordan: that there is a citizenship of the U.S. and a citizenship of a state, and that the privileges and immunities of one are not the same as the other, is well established by the decisions of this country. Wait a minute, you say, Gavar. How is it that in 1855 they said there's no such thing, and in 1927 they're saying there is 2 different citizenships, and the rights and privileges and immunities of one are not the same as the other? In fact, one has almost no rights, and the other one you have all your rights. How'd that happen? Well, it's called the 14th Amendment. And The 14th Amendment, if you Google June 13th, 1967 congressional record, and you look up page 105, I believe it starts, for about 6 pages long, Congress, for some odd reason, decided in 1967, right before the Civil Rights Act, Civil Rights Movement, that they needed to put in the record that 2 things. One, the 14th Amendment was not ratified properly, therefore it's not valid law, doesn't exist in law. And secondly, it's also unconstitutional. So therefore, under Marbury versus Madison, if it's repugnant to the Constitution, it's not a valid law. It creates no office, there's no protections, there's no reason anybody should obey it. It's a nullity in law as if it never existed. So U.S. citizenship, which was created by the 14th Amendment, doesn't even really exist, according to Congress. The United States, by the way, if you didn't know it, is a federal corporation. It's not even a country. The 1776 Confederacy, Articles of Confederation, styled the expression United States of America, small u, capital S, capital A. United being an adverb describing the condition of unity between the states of America. But United States is a federal corporation. And the UCC tells us it's located in the District of Columbia. So unless you were born in D.C., you can't even be a U.S. citizen. Now, I know there may be a few of us out there that maybe were born in D.C., maybe. But you can fix that. You can expatriate to one of the states, whatever you're living on right now. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, can you be a citizen of Walmart? How about McDonald's? How about Home Depot? Can you be a citizen of that? No. Are you insane? Well, if you claim to be, then you are what they call in law non compos mentis, of unsound mind. And you're also eligible for a 3-year stay in the Gray Bar Hotel of the United States, because 18 U.S.C. 911 says that if you falsely and willfully represent yourself to be a citizen of the U.S., you could be thrown in jail for 3 years. So you don't ever want to be that. So every time you see a government form that talks about U.S. citizenship, don't ever check that box. Don't do it. Now let's talk about the second lie that government sells us in our modern vernacular, our modern existence. Money versus credit. And we talked a little bit about this in my first video, Let My People Go, but I want to revisit it real quickly and define the words, because in defining the words, the mystery and the confusion disappears, goes away. Money, defined by Black's Law, in usual, in ordinary acceptation, means gold, silver, or circulating currency backed by gold and silver. In other words, gold or silver certificates. They're no longer in circulation. You might be able to find them in some pawn shop. I used to have a few until they got stolen from me in a break-in I had in Taos. And it says right on it, silver certificate, redeemable at any bank for that amount of silver or gold. But we don't have those anymore. But it goes on to say in the definition, does not embrace notes, bonds, or evidences of debt, or other personal or real estate. Brothers and sisters, take out your wallet. Look at those Federal Reserve notes. Those are evidences of debt. Under 18 U.S.C. 8, they are an obligation of the United States. So if you're serving the United States by working for its military scrip, you're receiving for your time nothing. A big fat goose egg. You're being given an IOU. And brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you, we were never supposed to be using them as a circulating currency. Because they go, we have a whole economy. We got Wall Street, we got stocks, bonds, IRAs, all kinds of investment strategies based on this evidence of debt. Well, that's because government is a reflection of the mentality of its citizens. And because the people have bought into a lie and believed that these evidences of debt actually have value, the government has accommodated you and allowed you to invest in them, because they know full well they can call them all back in tomorrow and you'd be left with nothing. So the reality is, and I've just come to realize this recently, I'm 60 years old in January. Thank you. You can send birthday cards if you like, and gifts. I appreciate it. I've realized that 60 years of my life I've worked and labored in the vineyard of Elohim, United States, and I've been given nothing of value. No consideration, which is value in law, I've been given IOUs. And because I didn't know the law, I accepted them as money. I don't do that anymore because I've risen above that lie. I no longer believe that lie. I've stepped out of that. Let's talk about credit now, because that's what Federal Reserve notes are. They're credit. And in video 1, Let My People Go, I talked a little bit about where that credit comes from. I called it fountain pen money. It's generated off of your trust fund. All the money in circulation, whether it was for military spending, bond initiatives to build your city hall, your prison, your police station in your town, or whether it was to build roads in your town, all those bond initiatives all came from credit off of your trust account. And all that really amounts to is, in law, time allowed to the buyer of goods by the seller in which to make payment for them, or the ability to defer payment. That's all we're living off of right now. The whole thing has been, it's a great big Ponzi scheme that the government created credit money, hypothecated off the value of your property. And they're allowing you the ability to defer payment. You have the ability and the right in law. And my new job is to teach you how to utilize that right. You have the right to generate your own credit. Did you know that? HJR 192, Public Law 7310, which came out in 1933, the National Banking Emergency, and the Act to abrogate the Gold Clause. They created this new money. And there were two ways that you could generate credit money off of that system. One, you can go to work for it through a corporation. The corporation would be able to, check this out, true story. The corporation, instead of paying you for your labor, they would then be able to hypothecate credit money to pay you with that the government would be issuing as an IOU. It costs the corporations nothing to pay you because the government backs it with a promise to pay called an IOU, called a Federal Reserve note. That's one way that you can generate credit. The second way is by writing your own notes, which I'm looking into right now, and I will soon be able to do that. So the reality is, under this current scheme that they set up, you don't have to work unless you want to. And if you do work, you're working for nothing. You're working for an Elohim that will give you IOUs. They have nothing to bless you with. They have no abundance, no provision, no source of blessing. All they can give you is IOUs, credit. I remind you of the two quotes I had in part 1. J.P. Morgan said gold and silver coin are money. Everything else is credit. And then the old adage, the ancient maxim, gold's the money of kings, silver the money of gentlemen, barter the currency of peasants, and credit is the currency of slaves. So if you're operating with Federal Reserve notes as a circulating medium of currency, brothers and sisters, you're operating as a slave. You're serving a foreign Elohim. So, I just told you have a choice. You can either serve Yahuwah and not work for a living, or you can be a slave. It all started back in 1861 when President Lincoln started the Public Charitable Trust, and what the Civil War was about gathering all the collateral that would be needed. See, they work in steps, phases. The evil people of the world, the money changers, they work in successive steps. They were planning on the Federal Reserve note all the way back in 1861 when they started the Civil War. And the conquest of the southern states and the Public Charitable Trust, all the property being put in that trust, was a precursor to facilitate credit money. And then with that happening, so-called private ownership, and you can read this in Senate Document 95-549 from, I believe, June of 1933, private ownership is only possible through government permission. They allow you to use it. It's called usufruct. Look it up in Black's Law. Use of the fruit. They get to use it, but you don't own it. So if you don't own it, brothers and sisters, why are you working to pay a mortgage to pay for it? Because you've been fooled. Because you've been duped. But there's a way out of that. We'll get to that in a moment. How you can hire someone to help you find the way out of that. I believe, in my opinion, this has been permitted to happen by our Father due to our lawlessness, our Torahlessness. He's like a child misbehaving. Our Father has taken our toys away. And the only way to get them back is to grow up and to prove that you can be trusted and that you're honorable. You won't be greedy. You'll only take what you need, and you won't take more than you need. And as believers, we're commanded in the Didache to have all things in common anyway. So this is perfectly in line with what the Scriptures command us to do. Hold nothing as your own. Don't hold on to it, he said, as if it's yours. Well, the government has taken it away. So why would you want to claim it to be yours? It's not yours. It's a deception. It's a lie. Certificate of title, which is what they give you for land, is not evidence of ownership. It's evidence of permission to use it. Ownership is held by somebody else. It's evidence of a trust. And the trustee has given you use of the property. So, I love this quote from Teddy Roosevelt, the Jamestown Exposition, 1907. You can never escape being governed. You must either govern yourself or rest assured you will be governed. Like I said earlier, I believe Yahuwah intends for man to govern himself. But if we refuse to obey his commandments, he allows this to happen. That's why this happened. That's the only reason why it's happened, because we have been petulant little children. We refuse to grow up. And so because of that, he's taken away our toys. And I believe in a way, this is an example of good coming forth from evil. It's because due to greed, capricious, controlling, corrupt rulers, politicians, lawyers, and bankers have created what I call the perfect control system. And the people who don't know how the laws are working and how it's been put together to provide you remedy if you want it are tricked into believing that the only option they have is to go to work and sell their prime time hours to the beast system in exchange for pieces of paper that they then exchange for the very things that you can have for nothing if you would just understand the law and how it works and how the statutory remedy was put together to allow you to live without having to work for a living. It's been said, I remember when I first woke up, I heard a message by a guy named Vic Beck, still on YouTube. And he said, the reason we're in debt is because everyone is working for a living. When you're doing that, you are obliging the government to print debt notes to pay you. They're never going to be able to pay you. And we'll talk about the consequence of that, the end game of that, on my last slide. You're going to love that. But you're generating debt because you refuse to believe Yahuwah. You refuse to accept what he's set up through the statutory remedy in America for you to utilize the property without owning it. You're working hard to own it, and ownership is an illusion. You don't own it. You never will own it, because a Federal Reserve note is only a means of discharge, and discharge is a benefit privilege of a United States citizen. So once again, what's the reward of being a United States citizen? 3 years in jail. Because it doesn't exist. It's a lie. And because you embrace a lie, they're going to throw you in jail. So the solution is to reacquire control of your estate. That name they gave you is a municipal corporation. It's an ens legis. People call it a straw man. I don't like that. It's a corporation. And it's a transmitting utility. It's the vehicle through which the government will allow you use of the property, but you don't own it. You simply get to manage it once you grow up. But you got to grow up. And you can partake of the trust assets, and in doing so, have access to unlimited credit, because you are due equitable interest recovery. It's kind of how it works is like this. So say I open a restaurant, and I'm really close to getting ready to open it. I just need a few more things. I come to you as a brother. I say to you, brother, sister, can you loan me $5,000? And you say, sure. And I use that money to finish opening my restaurant. And I'm open for a couple months, and things are going okay, but as in every business, it takes time to build word of mouth and build your business, and things are going well. But I come to you and I say to you, brother, sister, I know I loaned you this, you loaned me this money. I want to pay you back. I'm going to pay you back, but I just need a little more time. So in the meantime, because you invested in my corporation, anytime you want to come in and have dinner, just come in, and when the waiter comes with the check, just sign it. And I'll know you're taking advantage of the interest that you're due. Well, that's what the government did in the 30s. They took all of our property, and they used it for collateral, so they can finance international commerce. So when you look around you and you see all these products from all over the world, cars, trucks, tractors, Tractor Supply has all kinds of tractor farming implements, and Home Depot has tools come from all over the world. You have the right to sign and use any one of those things because you financed the whole doggone thing. But you got to grow up and stop thinking you can own anything. Let go of it. Let go. And all the blessing comes back in the form of unlimited credit, which is due to you, the ability to defer payment. That's what credit is. You can get those things and you can defer payment by using your credit, or otherwise known as equitable interest recovery. So what do you need to get there? What is it you need? You need an attorney in fact to explain this to you and walk you through the statutory requirements to be able to utilize the trust assets. Well, I happen to know a good one. His name is Vincent James. He's also goes by the name a man called Gavar. And this is a flyer I'm producing. It's available for you to view on my Instagram channel, which is called Lone Wolf Law. And I'm also on YouTube, Lone Wolf Gavar, at a man called Gavar. And I am now launching my new career. I'm stepping out in faith, and I believe that the body will support me. I believe Yahuwah will bless this because this message is timely, and it is a way to escape the slavery that you choose when you choose to work for a living. And I'm available to help you get there. Okay? Now, there's two ways you can do this. There's the free way, and there's the fee way. Let me comment on this for a bit. I got a few minutes left. I'm trying to be under an hour, and I'm at 40 minutes right now, which is pretty good. Everything I have just shared with you today is available for free on the internet. Everything, absolutely everything I've shared with you is for free if you choose to go look for it on the internet. I will continue to produce videos on my channel for free. I've been studying this for 15 years, and there's many mentors, and I'll make their names available to you, and you can study their material too. My time, however, is not free. I feel I have earned the right through diligent study to offer my services to the marketplace. Now, if I were to choose, I would seek only compensation in gold and silver coin, but I realize that's pretty much out of circulation. And few people have any coin available to offer. So, as a self-governing sovereign, even though I prefer that, I'm well aware that my goals are to elevate you to a place where you could be competent to take advantage of these blessings and manage your estate as an attorney, in fact. But it's going to take some time to get you there. It's going to take some investment. I can help speed that up by pointing you down the right path and away from rabbit holes that I fell down and distracted me for many, many years. I can't think of a better way for you as a believer to utilize those worthless Federal Reserve notes. I could use them right now to get myself to a place where I obtain my remedy. I'm very close. I'm very, very close. I've turned the spigot on. I got a slow drip right now on my remedy, but I want to bust that thing wide open and be able to walk in blessing. Some of the mentors that I have, one in particular, very arrogant one, I love him and hate him at the same time. He has 5 sports cars. He lives in a high-rise in Miami, and he last year had an outflow of $1.8 million. And all he does is teach people this. He was asked by his banker what he does, and he says, I teach people contract law and credit. That's what I intend to do. Now, I don't need $1.8 million. I just need a little bit of help to get over the hump. I'll talk about that in the next frame, but I'm allowing my customers to give me the option of payment in fiat because personally I can't think of a better way for you to redeem them than to leverage them to pursue your remedy, which will then allow you to forever cease to have to use them again. At a bare minimum, if you only utilize the free resources, you must still pay attention. So, in other words, there's no such thing as a free lunch. This acquired knowledge has cost me dearly. I'm only now beginning to recover from, I became a targeted individual while I was in New Mexico. That's why I fled to Arizona. So, how will your fees be spent? Office expenses, paper, ribbons, postage, certified mail, registered mail, non-food because I work in exchange for room and board, my current situation, so I don't pay rent, I don't pay for food. So gas, wear and tear in the vehicle that I'm going to acquire, attire, I need to dress up to go up. I've been living like a pauper farmer for a lot of years. So I got to spruce up my wardrobe so I can go and stand toe-to-toe with the judges and lawyers in the courtrooms, both for myself and for you. Okay? There's office setup costs, marketing. I want to hire an assistant at some point, but that will be probably a long-term goal. It'll be remote work. I won't have to have that person working in an office. It'll be remote. We'll do it all via the internet. So I ask you, brothers and sisters, please pray about how you might support this ministry. This message has to get out to the entire body. I'm very passionate about this. I really want the body to know all about how to utilize this remedy so you can avoid having to work for a living. So right now I'm offering $99 1-hour consults. Some of my mentors charge up to $500 an hour. And they've only been doing it for a half a dozen years. I've been studying 15 years. I have a lot more knowledge. Maybe not the successes they have, but I have a lot more knowledge than a lot of my mentors. So there it is once again. There is the flyer. My contact information there, lonewolflaw@proton.me. You can Zelle me the $99. Also, please, if you do that, please email me as well. Let me know that you've done that, and we can book your one-on-one appointment and begin getting you prepared to be an adult, to be an attorney in fact, managing your estate, utilizing trust assets for free, not having to pay for them, not having to sell your labor in the devil's vineyard for IOUs from a government that can never, ever pay you. What a crazy thing to do, in my opinion. So the number there is 520-686-2604, bottom right corner there, Lone Wolf Law at proton.me. Now, last frame, I want to talk about this real quick in closing. The danger of using Federal Reserve notes. And I'm not going to get into great detail because I want to close that before an hour. I know people's attention spans are very, very brief, and I want to get this information out. You can review screenshots and read this in great detail. The danger about using Federal Reserve notes is that they are military scrip of the United States government. Okay? They can be recalled at any time. It's a privilege of discharge that you're benefiting from by using them. Discharge, again, doesn't remove the debt. It only removes the ability for you to have to pay it for now, for right now. It kicks the can down the road. And at some future date, when the banking emergency ends, that privilege is going to go away. And all the notes will be called in. And then all the debts will return. So if you're paying for a house or a car or any luxuries that you own, camper, I know people who have Airbnbs, they buy campers and they rent them out and they make an income and they make the payments on the campers. All that stuff, all those debts, if the banking emergency ever ends, which I heard Trump talking about ending the Fed, which would mean he'd end the use of Federal Reserve notes. If that happens, all the debts that were discharged by those Federal Reserve notes being used for payment, those balances come back. And whatever new currency they bring in, if it's gold or silver or something else, you have to go back to work to earn that money, that new money, to pay that debt all over again. So it's far better for you to utilize the credit that you are being given, it's called equity interest recovery, to set off the debt, which means instead of putting debt toward that asset, you are now just using the asset, creating no debt because it's owed to you. There's no debt involved there. So you'll get to keep those things if that's how you're holding them. If you're holding them as trust assets that you are just using as a benefit, as the beneficiary, then there's no debt associated with that property. So, think carefully about whether or not you want to continue partaking in that system. And if you don't want to keep doing that, and you want to partake instead of the remedy, then I urge you to contact Attorney, that was a misspeak. Attorney-in-fact, Gavar, at lonewolflawproton.me. There's the phone number, also my Zelle. I pray this message is received. I pray that people will pray over it carefully. I think it's totally in line with the way Yahuwah does things. There's a pattern of when he took his people out of Israel, brought them into the promised land. The same pattern is displayed here again with this setup, this arrangement. So I know a lot of barbarians, a lot of unsaved people out there that are making a lot of money by selling this information to people. And they're charging thousands of dollars at seminars and classes to go and learn how to do it. I can't personally justify spending or charging thousands of dollars, but I do believe I have a right to make something as I work my way toward remedy. Once I get there, then there will be no need for me to make any money anymore, because there'll be no need for money. Everything is free. You just sign for it. So that's the beauty of it. So I'll leave it there because I'm under an hour right now, and I think that's a good time to leave and let you ponder whether or not you want to keep serving a false Elohim that has no real blessing to bestow upon you, no real provision, only lies and IOUs, kicking the can down the road. That to me makes no sense, and I refuse to do that anymore. So I'm seeking remedy, and I want to help my brothers and sisters find that remedy. So I'll leave it at that. And thank you for joining me. I pray your family is blessed by hearing this message. I pray that you would meet it with faith, not fear. And you would search the scriptures and pray. And I think the Ruach will reveal to you that this is what Yahuwah is doing for his people in the latter days, to allow them to escape the bondage of Mitsrayim. So, this is a man called Gavar. Shalom, shalom. Thank you for your time.